Could have been an email.
Could have been an email.
By the way, she's like, did you get my text? She also texted me about it.
Good Morning Liberty.
Bailey.
Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston. Across from me is Mr. Charles Chuck Thompson. How is it going this beautiful Friday morning, afternoon, actually, in Nashville, Tennessee, Chuck?
Oh, we couldn't have asked for a better day, I don't think.
This is a great day.
Yeah. It smells like paint in here.
Yeah, you got people here working on the house because it's all full of mold and stuff.
Full of toxins.
That's what happens when you don't do your dishes, you know.
That's
so,
exactly.
You know,
they pile up,
do?
the toxins pile up.
Mm-hmm,
you know,
Actually, people just came over and did the dishes, and they solved the problem.
Two dogs, 4 cats.
It's a lot of animals, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's Friday, everyone, and we have a heck of a dumb bleep of the week to present. All right, so we're going to keep this beginning short and sweet. On Fridays, for many years now, we've done a segment where we throw together what we believe to be the dumbest things that happened over the last week. The live group, Fed Haters Club, threw in a bunch of submissions themselves, and we threw in some as well. Today we got a big list, which means we're going to do a bit of a rapid fire kind of thing because it's a heck of a lot of stuff going on right now. And by that, I mean we have 14 things that the people are going to be voting on. It's going to be very difficult, except for we probably know what's going to win unless we have some kind of a surprise dump. But anyway, we're going to go through, they're going to vote, and that's going to be the winner of Dumb Bleep of the Week. So anyhow, without further ado, let's get going on Dumb Bleep number 1. This here week encompasses the week where we had that really bad flood in Texas. A lot of people died. I think it's like over 100 now. People died, a lot of kids.
That's a very sad situation.
Very, very sad situation. And but that, you know, people have taken the time to go ahead and blame Republicans or people who voted for this or whatever, or to just make fun of the kids in general, people like Destiny, things like that. And so we're just going to go through some of those things, like this doctor, okay, this pediatrician who said, may all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry. Kerr County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts. Now, she's been out there since then apologizing because she got canceled. So she's taking full responsibility for her now.
Did she get fired too?
I think I'm going to, let's see here. For her now viral post while blaming it in part on her not knowing that so many precious lives were lost to the terrible tragedy that killed more than 100 people, including dozens of kids. She said, I speak to you as a mother, a neighbor, a pediatrician, and human being who is deeply sorry, the Houston-based children's doc wrote in a statement.
If I knew so many kids had died, I wouldn't have said something.
Yeah.
If it was just a couple of kids,
regular amount of kids dying.
It would have, as a pediatrician, it would have been fine.
The other thing about that where she blames FEMA, we'll come back to that here in a minute. Destiny is doing his thing that he does now in response to someone who said, I've been trying to wrap my head around how the flooding in Texas became so devastating so quickly. Why not evacuate? Then I saw this. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, they've actually got Lieutenant Dan as their lieutenant governor, said the Guadalupe River rose 26 feet in 45 minutes around 4 a.m. Destiny responded saying, I heard God killed those kids because they were using @NordVPN promo code Destiny to get around the Texas porn ban. That's not. And then you put a sad face, not happy face right there.
It's literally promoting.
NordVPN, for their part, said that he is not sponsored by NordVPN. This tweet falsely suggests a sponsorship with us. No such relationship exists. We are reviewing this misuse of our trademark, meaning they're trying to see if they can take any action because it sounded like he said he was sponsored by them. I don't think that's going to help NordVPN very much, but whatever. He also said later, maybe the kids weren't fit for camping near a river if they couldn't swim. Unhappy face once again.
Jesus Christ, this guy.
Now
he's doing it just for this reason.
He is, and
that's it. And he continues to become more famous just by being a provocateur.
I'm fine with making jokes about stuff, like we joke about all kinds of things, but it's the reason Destiny is saying these things. Because when he backs it up, like I saw him on Piers Morgan, and Piers was grilling him about this, and he's like, "Oh, well, look at what the right does, and look at what they say about the guy who attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband, or look at what they're doing here."
But then he doubles down on them as if they're not jokes.
But the problem is he essentially claims he's doing it because the right is so terrible and they do it, and so he's doing it. And my point with that is that's not proving that you're any better than the people on the right at all, and especially when you're making fun of little kids drowning. That's not the way to go about it, but it works for him. Like, I'm sure he's making plenty of money. Let's go through a few other things here. This person says, Rut-Road, Texas, what you going to do? There's no FEMA to pick you up by your bootstrap. They gave it all to ICE. So there's no FEMA to pick you up by your bootstrap. And this sort of goes back to that doctor's comment about FEMA also. It's a nice community note here. I know that Trump has talked a lot about cutting FEMA or giving it to the states and all that. And this is sort of the upsetting part. He talks about doing these cuts, but actually those cuts haven't happened. This hasn't really happened. But a lot of people think that it has happened, when what actually happened was in March, the 2025 FEMA funding was continued because they did a continuing resolution for FEMA. And actually in 2026 House budget currently for the disaster relief fund is $26.5 billion, which is an increase of $4.5 billion over previous levels. So not only has Trump not gutted FEMA, cut FEMA's funding, sent it back to the states, they're actually funded currently at the same levels and projected to get funded at even higher levels right now. But since he's talked about it so much, people on the left think that we don't have FEMA anymore. And so now it's like, I wish he would actually do it, but he hasn't. But it's leading people to say these kind of things. And then, other people on the left saying that this is clearly climate change. That's why this happened.
Even though we have a higher the water level on record.
The actual record for that river is 36 feet, and that happened in 1932, which you could argue not a lot of people talking about climate change, human-caused climate change, at least during that time.
Maybe that was back when they were pumping the smokestacks, though.
That could be it. Well, it's like when we first started. We first started dumping all this stuff in the atmosphere, and it caused a rapid change, and that's why the 30s were so rough. That's what was going on. So anyhow,
you have all those records back in the 30s, don't you?
Well, there's some rough weather back then.
Biggest tornadoes, biggest floods.
That's what it was.
Biggest hurricanes.
When in all actuality here,
or you just have extreme weather events like every 100 years.
Yeah, you don't have to look super hard for what to blame in this scenario. The bad weather happened, and that sucks. They did have a potential plan for a warning system, like flood sirens around the river 8 years ago that they decided not to do. It would have cost $1 million. They decided not to do it. I'm not here arguing that the government should have done this government thing or whatever, but there are other things you can do to prevent the tragic loss of life. And another thing you could do.
Also, the private people could probably do it much cheaper.
Yeah,
than
I mean,
that.
you could do it probably pretty easily. And then there's also this thing for the New York Times. Camp Mystic cabin stood in an extremely hazardous floodway. And so they did this thing. Cabins at Camp Mystic, the Texas youth camp where 27 people died, had long sat in a flood zone. And if you're watching the video right now, you can see marked in yellow here is all flood zone. And that's where pretty much most of Camp Mystic is. The New York Times analyzed federal data to identify 19 cabins at Camp Mystic that were located in designated flood zones, including some in an area the county had deemed extremely hazardous. Okay, the camp pursued an expansion project 6 years ago instead of relocating cabins to higher ground to put new ones in the flood zone. Still, all right. So that seems pretty important.
Yeah.
It's not. You can hindsight the whole thing, but if you want to blame, like, why did all of these kids die at this camp? Number one, the weather happened, and that sucks. But number two, you just have to ask, like, do you have to build this whole camp in a flood zone in a river that has flooded like this historically?
You probably shouldn't.
Probably shouldn't do that.
And it's, but it is a very sad situation. The loss of life is extremely sad. Another sad part of this dumb bleep is we completely missed in the very beginning of this dumb bleep. We missed the Lieutenant Dan joke.
Yeah.
When we talked about the river rising 26 feet and Lieutenant Dan not having any feet.
God.
We missed, I just want to say we missed that joke. I wanted to bring that
fine.
back around.
Thank you for bringing it that to our
close
attention.
Up number one.
That's very good. Yeah, thank you. That's number one.
Number one.
All right, number two, the U.S. measles cases have climbed to a 33-year high. 33-year high. Now, we eradicated measles. It was gone, all right? It was basically gone. I think in the year 2000-ish is when we declared it gone, even though there were still cases every year. We declared it gone. Basically, we won the courageous battle over measles. And, of course, what's happening right now is everyone is blaming RFK Jr. And like this Representative Jake Auchincloss with an orange square says putting RFK Jr. in charge of vaccines is like making a flat earther the head of NASA. This person is retweeting Henry Winkler, most known for playing the Fonz on, what is that, Happy Days, I guess. Henry Winkler says, did we not wipe out the measles a while ago? This person says, the Fonz asked the question that needs to be asked. Why, yes, we did wipe out measles like a quarter century ago, but it's back because we have people, including our health secretary, who spread falsehoods about vaccines.
This is a doctor. This is an MD.
Yeah, as you can tell because
it's in his,
it's all in the title right there.
Medical doctor, miles per hour.
Lies with Brian Liar Cohen says the United States just reached the highest amount of measles cases in 33 years. This comes after RFK Jr. fired every member of the Federal Vaccine Advisory Committee. People say this comes after it as a way to like slightly blame it on that thing or to tie it together in people's heads, you know? And that, but there's no link to this. Like this just happened a few weeks ago. This is not what
it's
caused
like
the measles cases to be higher.
Sahara Desert is drier than it's ever been. This after God flooded the entire earth 2,500 years ago.
It's just like, this comes after, and then you can name anything previously.
So it's God's
before
fault.
That. You know, that's what it is. Fact post or post fact, as I call it. Trump CDC has announced that the U.S. is having its worst year for measles in 30 years. Rick Wilson says, weird. It's got a picture here of RFK and a vaccine. And you can see that, in fact, there are a lot of measles cases that are shown here by this map of the United States and how many cases there are around the United States. And there tend to be a whole lot of cases down here in Texas. A whole lot of stuff down there in Texas. And now one thing that we know about these cases, first off, is it's seen the first start in heavily Mennonite communities. And they say that 92% of the people, the number floating around, 92% of the people with the measles are unvaccinated or their vaccination status is unknown, which could literally mean that a bunch of them are vaccinated and, you know, some of them are not. But let's just assume that a bunch of them are unvaccinated. Whatever. That's fine. So the other thing that we know in this story, Bailey asked how many have died. I think it's one. Pretty sure I think it's one so far that has died. You know, don't quote me. Don't spread that around on social media without looking it up. But so far, I've heard about one person dying, which is sad. I don't like it when people die. But what else is going on here? There's measles outbreaks in Canada and Mexico that are not good. In fact, Canada and Mexico are having roughly 30-year highs in measles cases right now, especially Mexico, who's got a giant measles outbreak.
Bunch of anti-vaxxers in Mexico
at the moment. Well, they're all listening to RFK. It was what's going on. In fact, the biggest area, like
Chihuahua,
like 98%, it's 90-something% of the cases are in Chihuahua, which this right up here is Tejas, right up here above Chihuahua.
Maybe.
and
Arizona
so
or
like
New
there's
Mexico?
like twice as many cases down here in Chihuahua as there are up here in Texas. And 94% of Mexico's cases are in this one area, which I circled right here on the map. And it would be roughly, They're just very close. It's very odd to me that the epicenter of
in
the
between
U.S.
Honolulu and Texas there.
yeah, sorry. If you look at the epicenter in Texas and you look at the epicenter in Mexico, it seems like you could potentially draw some sort of other conclusion about what's linking those two things together.
Also, what was it 33 years ago? I want to know.
Well, we hadn't gotten all the vaccinations out at that time. We declared it gone because of the MMR vaccine, and we finally got rid of it. But there are other things to link this together. In fact, not only are Mexico and Canada having 30-year high outbreaks, same thing's going on in Europe right now at the same time. Who's got the highest number of measles cases in more than 25 years? I think roughly 28 years. The highest amount of cases they've had. Now, I didn't know RFK Jr. had that much of a reach on vaccination policy.
It's his book.
Yeah, it is his book. They say vaccination rates in many countries are yet to return to pre-pandemic levels, increasing the risk of outbreaks. So you could draw a line between immigration, if you wanted to do that. You could also say that we are coming out of a time where experts have lied to everyone about vaccines, and we found out that maybe they're not as safe as we thought they were, or at least that they were just lie straight to our face about these vaccines and try to force you to take them. And now the vaccination rates have not rebounded to what they were before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder
so
if
you could rename the headline, you think, the highest measles outbreak in 33 years. And then the tagline would be, this after the government lied to you about the COVID-19 vaccine.
Bingo. There you go. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, let's talk about Julia. Have you heard about Julia?
Uh-uh.
All right, let's talk about Julia. This comes from a guy. Let me find the guy's Murray Hill guy. I saw the story when it first popped up. It's escalated since. It's really funny. We just got to talk about it right fast. So this originally went viral. Let's see, June 25th is the date of this reservation. But these two people met in New York. They met online. They met on an app, okay? And he says, hey, just confirming you're still good for tonight. See ya at 8:30 at Little Rebel. And she says, hey, yes, that still works. I did just want to ask one thing to make sure we are on the same page and not waste time. Did you vote for Zoran for mayor? I'm really excited he won. And this guy responded with, the reservation canceled. Okay.
Oh.
Now that's really funny. So let's see. Glad we didn't waste each other's time. Also, now, okay, so we posted this screenshot on Twitter. She's not happy about that. I will say, first off, it didn't give her phone number, her last name, nothing like that. I saw this when it first popped up. It didn't have any identifying characteristics of the
Julia
girl. Just
Layla.
Oh, is that her last name? Maybe?
I don't know.
Because I saw it. I don't know which one it is. Let's see here. Glad we didn't waste each other's time. I also now have seen you posted the screenshot on Twitter. Your page is disgusting. If you do not delete your post, I'm going to the police. I don't need this in my life right now. This week has been insanely stressful, probably from the other guys posting screenshots of her dumb stuff. He says, didn't you just vote to defund the police? Now you want to call them over a Twitter post? Good luck. She says, please do not message or contact me again. I've reported your post to the police. You will also be hearing from my lawyer. He did, in fact, hear from her lawyer. All right, so an attorney with redacted legal group, and I represent Julia redacted. We're reaching out regarding recent online posts and content that have referenced or appeared to reference our client, either directly or indirectly. While we understand the nature of social media commentary, certain representations may be construed as defamatory or damaging to our client's reputation and well-being. We respectfully request that you remove any such content and refrain from further commentary. Okay, so he went out.
Hang on. How is this damaging to their client? Is she not proud that she voted for Zoran, Zelda, Lord Muhammad? What? Why would she be like? Why wouldn't she share that Twitter post and be like,
yeah.
Oh my God! Thank God!
I voted for him. Look at this a-hole over here thinking that he's going to get
Thank God
me,
I didn't go on a date with this MAGA crazy guy.
Of course. No.
But I voted for the savior of New York City.
So she goes. Yeah, it's in New York City. So she goes to a lawyer. And Charlie, let me tell you something about lawyers. While this bee might be off her rocker, lawyers like to make money. And as any good lawyer
Please
will
tell me
say,
this guy's a lawyer.
No, as any good lawyer will respond to this crazy bee who comes to them as a potential client, and she says, hey, will you send like a cease and desist or whatever to this guy?
Sure, honey.
Of course we will. We'll take your case all the way to the Supreme Court. Of course we will. Here's our retainer.
$1,000 an hour, 2 hours minimum.
I'm hearing we lost sound. Hold on. Let's see what's going on. Sound back. Okay. I don't know. Okay, we're back. All right. Of course I'll take your money. And so they took her money and they sent the email. So he went and got a lawyer. Also, Randazza Legal Group. Let's see. Says, we serve as a First Amendment counsel to the owner of the X account, Murray Hill guy. Your client, Julia Redacted, agreed to a date with my client. She then asked him if he voted for Zoran Mohammed, implying that it mattered in the context of the date. And my client's response was to cancel the date and to post the exchange on the social media account. A few people laughed. That should have been the end of it. Instead, Julia then activated total batshit mode, threatening to call the police on him for tweeting out the interaction. That he would be hearing from her lawyer. I guess that you're the backup to that threat. In operative part, your demand states, whatever, see. I sense by the tenor of your demand that you don't entirely believe it in it yourself. I suspect that your conversation with Julia went something like, Julia, there's not a thing you can do about this. Are you out of your effing mind? Then something other than conviction and the ideas expressed convinced you to say, fine, I'll send this stupid demand. I'm sorry, bro. I get it. Sometimes you just get stuck in a situation. I'm going to take your threat literally that if my client does not remove this content from social media, you're going to consider further legal remedies. You'll consider them, then realize that every one of them is effing stupid. Then that will be the end of this, or you can escalate this and we can make you look even dumber. Your move. Now, Charlie, that is your lawyer right there, because this is a real lawyer. I was like, this can't be a real lawyer.
This is so great.
Now it's a real lawyer. In fact, I bet he took this case pro bono because this guy is getting all kinds of publicity right now.
It does say an activist law firm.
Yeah. First Amendment, intellectual property, and litigation.
Okay,
counsel. There you
show's
go.
over. That's the best one.
That's good stuff. That's pretty dumb. Now we get to Elon Musk's America Party. As you guys know, he decided he was going to start the America Party because he's very upset about the big, beautiful bill. Republicans not actually cutting enough spending, things like that. He says, by a factor of 2 to 1, you want my new political party, and you shall have it. When it comes to bankrupting our country with waste and graft, we live in a one-party system, not a democracy. Today, the America Party is formed to give you back your freedom. I don't know if we have to do Trump's entire response here, but basically...
Yeah, Elon Musk is upset about the big spending, and Trump's like, Elon Musk is upset about EV mandates.
Yeah, which is funny. Every time he talks about Elon being upset about the EV mandate, he's like, I don't know why he's upset. Every time I ever brought it up, he never said he ever had a problem with it, not a single time.
And even when I posted on Twitter, Elon responds and says he still doesn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. And so even Trump, when he says this, is like, yeah, there's absolutely no evidence that Musk has a problem with this whatsoever. He does say that I'm saddened to watch Elon Musk go completely off the rails, essentially becoming a train wreck over the past 5 weeks, even wants to start a third political party, despite the fact that they have never succeeded in the United States. The system seems not designed for them.
Well, that's true.
The system designed by the other two parties is not great for the third one. The one thing third parties are good for is the creation of complete and total disruption and chaos. And we have enough of that with the radical left Democrats who have lost their confidence and their minds. Okay. Republicans are a smooth running machine, blah, blah, blah. You know the thing. All right. So that's from Trump right there. Then we got a few other things here about the political party that kind of burned my biscuit. It didn't butter my biscuits. Like, but, biscuits being butter is a good thing. This one burned them. And this page C3 said, why not just primary uniparty Republicans and replace them with MAGA candidates? I'm confused. And this person says, something else is going on. I don't like it. I stand with Trump. Let's primary the rhinos. And like DC Drano says, this seems like a much smarter use of resources, referring to replacing uniparty Republicans with MAGA candidates. He says, similar to his purchase of Twitter. Not Twitter. I don't know what that is. Why start from scratch when you can help us continue to take over the Republican Party and get true MAGA candidates elected? We're about 10 Senate seats and 30 House seats away from a true takeover.
The MAGA candidates are the problem.
Yeah,
Trump's big, beautiful bill is a problem.
And so I included two people here who have spent a ton of time going after guys like Thomas Massie and Rand Paul, guys who actually want to reduce spending. And so DC Drano and this other guy, C3, don't seem to actually get the plan here from Musk. Now, I admit it's going to be a really difficult plan.
I love his name, DC Drano.
Yeah.
Let's keep the money pumping.
Yeah, let's keep doing it.
Let's not drain the dollars
out
of DC.
So,
because he's getting some of them.
Getting MAGA candidates elected is not immediately going to reduce spending, which is what Musk is interested in trying to do. So that's your problem. It could result in reducing some spending, but we don't actually have any evidence of that at the moment. Okay. We'll skip on past that. We're still on Double Bleep number 4, talking about the America Party, and we'll play a video here from Steve freaking Bannon, who
I thought this guy died.
He did. His body's been taken over by a retarded person. Let's see here. Why is the wheel spinning? Let's refresh this page.
Always human nature. This is what we have here in the United States. You have MAGA. You have the hardest core opposition to MAGA. And you have a lot of people kind of in the middle seeing which way. The buffoon, Elmo the Mook, formerly known as Elon Musk, Elmo the Mook, he's today in another smear, and this only a foreigner could do this. Think about it. He's got up on Twitter right now a poll about starting an America Party. A non-American starting an America Party. No, brother, you're not an American. You're a South African. And
he's an American.
We take enough time and prove the facts of that, you should be deported because it's a crime of what you did.
Oh, God. Now, first of all, I want to start with what he started with. He said, you have MAGA, you have an extreme opposition to MAGA, and then you have a lot of people in the middle. He said a lot of people in the middle.
Yeah. Which is what Musk also...
Which is what Musk is saying.
Musk said, yeah.
Elmo. Mook.
Elmo the Mook.
Elmo the Mook.
That's what he's calling him.
Who came up with that?
I don't know what that means.
Very interesting.
He should have had Trump come up with a name.
Yeah.
That one's not good. And just doing the whole thing like a non-American starting the America Party. If that's... I'm not blaming this on all of MAGA, but if that's what MAGA is, like if you're... It's one thing to talk about our legal system and legal immigration and stuff like that. But if it's going to go all the way to anyone who's ever been from another country in their lives ever, even if they've been here for that long and gone through the system and all that, and they're still, because their ancestors aren't American or whatever, like I got no place for that in my heart or my mind. Okay.
Maybe you want to put an extra gate on my microphone here.
I've been muting it off and on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's things going on. Okay, so that's number 4. Let's get to number 5. This is the first entry here from Rashida Tlaib. And so here we go. This bill, talking about the big, beautiful bill. Now, we got our problems, Charlie and I do, with the big, beautiful bill, don't we?
Yeah.
We got plenty of them.
Major problems.
Plenty of problems.
But the left's problems...
are dumb.
Are complete opposite of our problems.
Yeah.
With the
our
bill.
problems are correct, and the less problems are really dumb.
Yes.
She says, this bill is an act of violence against our communities at a time of extreme income and wealth inequality. While 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, this budget is absolutely devastating for the working families we represent. I'm not even going to...
See, our problem is it spends too much money. Her problem is it doesn't spend enough.
Yeah. So her let me get the she could make her arguments about it, but what made it dumb, bleep worthy, is calling this an act of violence. And so the act of violence is not taking money from some people violently with the threat of violence to give it to other people to whom it does not belong.
That's not an act of violence.
The act of violence is giving.
Oh wait, that is
the act of violence.
Yes.
The act of violence is not violently taking money. Mm-hmm. Well, they're still violently taking money. Just not as much as she wants to in order to give it to other people.
That's confusing,
So
even for me.
The entire thing
Yes.
is very confusing. Yeah, but
An act of violence would be if you let people keep more of their own money.
But
By
she
not
says that's the non-violent solution is to violently take money from people.
Yes.
Just so you guys know. Okay.
I get it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So speaking
Clear
of
as mud.
Speaking of Big Beautiful Bill, we're going to continue our rapid fire segments here. Why don't we mention a couple of the issues that I really wanted to mention all week? And when I went to search the White House posting about this, I found this stupid remake of a old infomercial for one of these bump it up things you put in your hair. Only they made one for the Big Beautiful Bill. And so it says flat paycheck, flat broke, bump it up with President Trump's one big beautiful bill. It's big, it's beautiful, and it puts money back in your pocket.
I bet Trump was.
He's
probably
That's
tweeting.
kind of funny.
He's tweeting at 2:00 in the morning with the TV on.
Yeah.
Saw this infomercial pop up.
It's kind of funny. Whatever. Let's
He's
see.
watching. He's watching. I just imagine him. He's watching reruns of his show.
Yeah.
You're fired, which was called Apprentice. The Apprentice.
So
he's rewatching those. He taped them.
Yeah.
He's got the
Got
VHS,
the
set up.
Tapes, putting them in there, yeah.
And, he's rewatching those. He's tweeting truthing some things. It's 2:00 in the morning. He's got a couple Twinkies, maybe a Big Mac. He's sitting
Diet Coke.
Sitting in his presidential suite in the White House, Diet Coke in one hand, Melania in the other. They're rewatching The Apprentice, and this commercial comes on, and he tells his staff to make this commercial. Here
I
we
want
go.
to see. I haven't actually listened. Let me see if they actually overdub something here. Let me see.
Tired of government promises falling flat? Do you go through an outrageous amount of stress just trying to get by? Then bump it up with the One Big Beautiful Bill and get that relief fast and easy. The One Big Beautiful Bill is the incredible bill that gives you peace of mind and puts money in your pocket every time. It's both big and beautiful. With no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, and more. Just look at the difference. Amazing! The One Big Beautiful Bill will benefit you everywhere, every day.
Listen.
This is great.
That's actually really funny.
It is.
Okay. So the video
They
itself
forgot to
is
mention
not-
there's caps, by the way.
Yeah,
There's caps on these no taxes.
The issue is with are the facts behind the facts. Okay.
Yeah.
Like there's the things that they say as the facts, but then there's the actual facts behind that. Okay. One of them being the no tax on tips. That's no tax on the first $25,000. Now, when I say no tax, I know what you thought, Charlie, was that there was no tax on the first $25,000. There's still FICA taxes on that first $25,000. So there's just no federal
income tax
on the first $25,000.
But
and
still
then
got to pay Medicare and Social Security.
after the $25,000, there's taxes. So when you go around saying, yeah, we did no tax on tips, do you think that's what people heard during the campaign when people said, we're not going to do no tax on tips, no tax on tips? They were like, you know what? I think the mean are tax on tips.
I know that no means no.
Yeah.
Like means none, zilch, zero, no.
But Trump doesn't.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the problem. So, so the no tax on tips. And by the way,
there's caps on overtime. There's caps on Social Security. There's cap.
Yeah, the no tax thing it's not true. There is tax there. And after 25,000, now we know people who make their entire living off of tips. Many people make their entire living off of tips. And those people might have heard him saying no tax on tips, even as recent as last week, and thought that meant there was no tax on tips. But it's just no tax on the first 25,000, and by no tax they mean no federal income tax. So there's still FICA taxes too. So I just wanted to clarify.
There is a true no tax on tips, and that's if you give your servers cash, and they don't have to report
no
it.
Taxes. That's fine. The no tax on overtime is no taxes on the first $12,500 of overtime. So if you're someone who makes an awful lot of your money off of working those long hours and working that overtime job, you'll get no tax except for the FICA taxes, so still tax on the first $12,500, but then everything after that, there's still going to be taxes on. So that doesn't sound like no tax on overtime. That is still tax on overtime. No tax on Social Security. let me tell you what, this is the saddest one. These older people are going to be super confused when they look at their Social Security check and they see that taxes came out of it. That's going to be really weird.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to file your taxes, there's an extra $6,000 deduction that you can take on the Social Security as long as you're not over the income threshold, which I believe is $75,000 a year. So that's, I would understand if people were confused about that. I really would. Number 7. While we're doing that, we'll move slowly away from the big, beautiful bill, not fully. We're going to talk about the 4th of July just a little bit right now for the next couple. Anna Paulina Luna. This has been our first opportunity to talk about this post from Anna Paulina Luna. She says, gearing up for No King's Day tomorrow. That would be the 4th of July. A friendly reminder that the 4th of July was brought to you by the right to bear arms and a refusal to pay taxes. She says this is a fitting day for the big, beautiful bill to be signed. Happy early 4th of July. Now, there are a few problems with this, and I'll show you the full photo here. Number 1, the first thing she mentions is the 4th of July was brought to you by the right to bear arms. And that's why it's a fitting day for the big, beautiful bill to be signed. Okay, so here's her picture that she posted. Man, Charlie's going to miss this entire one.
I'm
Dang
not.
it.
I see it.
So here's the picture that she posted. She's got a couple nice guns right here. She's sitting on a throne of lies right now because the gun down here at the bottom. Okay, now that's a pretty sweet looking gun. And she's posting about the 4th of July and it was brought to you by the right to bear arms, stuff like that. Problem is she is pictured with a gun that you are not allowed to buy, that the government prevents you from buying. Okay. AA-12, maybe AA-12. I don't know. Is there a AAA-12? I'm not sure what you call it. It's a shotgun. Okay. So, it looks awesome. I like it. Okay. They're not available for civilian purchase or use in the United States. The original fully automatic version falls under the restrictions of the 1986, thanks Reagan, Firearms Owner Protections Act. Hughes Amendment, which prohibits the sale of the new machine guns to civilians. No transferable pre-1986 AA-12s exist because the design wasn't produced in significant numbers until later. A semi-automatic variant was briefly pursued, starting in 2018, where pre-orders announced and prototypes showcased, but the production was halted in late 2019 due to an ATF investigation and recall. The ATF classified the semi-auto design, which used an open bolt mechanism, as a machine gun, deeming it readily convertible to full auto fire. So none of these guns have been produced for civilian sales since then, and there are no current listing or updates indicating availability as of 2025.
Was this an AI photo?
I don't know if she actually got on a throne with this. I just think that when she posts about the right to bear arms and the 4th of July, you shouldn't post a gun that the government says you can't own, that's a pretty stupid thing to do. And then she says refusal to pay taxes, and that's why the BBB should be signed. All of that. There's another thing with the BBB, which was it called the Hearing Protection Act or something that had to do with removing firearm suppressors from basically all of the restrictions, the registration restrictions. There's a $200 tax on those. Now it didn't fully remove. You still got to register. And that's what a lot of people are upset about, that whole thing, which makes them insanely expensive, difficult for regular people to get. But they did get rid of the $200 tax. You just still have to register yourself with the government when you do it. So anyway, Charlie, happy 4th of July. There you go. There's that. On top of that, number 8, real fast. This headline, this is something else. We're talking about July 4th right now. Taxpayers are supposed to shell out $150 million for next year's July 4th celebrations.
250 years, baby. 250.
Let's spend less than 30 seconds on that. What I said on Twitter, X, was imagine Thomas Jefferson reading that headline. The taxpayers are going to be forced to shell out $150 million so we can celebrate the 4th of July. Can you guys think about that for a second?
Even in inflation-adjusted dollars, I don't even know if the government's budget was $150 million back in 1776.
Okay, so that's a real fast number 8 right there. These are all things I wanted to mention all week, but we kept having to talk about Epstein.
Yeah.
We mentioned this one yesterday. Trump saying that the U.S. must send more weapons to Ukraine just days after ordering a pause in critical weapons deliveries to Kyiv. So we had the video saying that we're going to send more weapons. We're going to send more weapons. We have to. And he said they're going to be defensive weapons. Now, the announcement, just to be clear, just for everyone to know, I heard today that what's actually happening is he's going to force NATO to buy the weapons from us with the understanding that NATO is going to give the weapons to Ukraine afterwards, which starts to sound like Ukraine's part of NATO, but whatever. At least the weapons are getting purchased, I guess. That's one thing. But they are going to do both defensive and offensive weapons. It's not just defensive anymore. So we're going to move on because there'll be plenty more time to talk about that stuff. That's number 9. You know, when you know something's not going to win, you just got to move on.
Yeah.
This one has to do with Justice Jackson. Ooh,
which we covered yesterday.
She is for real. Okay. Yeah, so this had to do with a Supreme Court ruling where the Trump administration had an executive order that was telling the agencies they had to submit to them a plan for reduction in force. Essentially, unions sued them and said, well, you guys can't reduce the force of the federal government. That means you're going to fire union workers. You just can't be allowed to do that kind of thing. You know, that requires an act of Congress.
So then the federal government was like, well, no, we're just asking for a plan.
Yeah, we want them to submit plans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so that went all the way to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court rules
8-1.
8-1 that
they can ask for plans.
That they can ask for a plan.
Yeah.
And that then they will determine whether or not the plan itself,
if someone sues,
is lawful.
on the
yeah,
plan.
you have to sue again whether or not the plan itself is lawful or unlawful.
They have to implement the plan. By the way,
yeah,
you know,
they'll have to implement it because then you got to prove that there's harm, and then they'll say whether or not it's lawful or unlawful. So the really funny part about this was Ketanji Brown Jackson posted did a 16-page opinion, I think, which I read.
Dissent.
Mm-hmm. Which I read actually most of, and it was god awful. It was just really dumb.
Now you're dumber for it.
Yeah, I feel really bad about taking the time to do that. What was really funny is Justice Sotomayor, who's another left-wing activist on the Supreme Court, said, I agree with Justice Jackson that the president cannot restructure federal agencies in a manner inconsistent with congressional mandates, but that is not what this case is about, essentially is what she said. I agree that he would not be able to do that, but that's not what we're hearing in this case. I'm not sure you actually read what the case was or have any understanding. That's not just the dumb here, though, because there was a really funny one. After CNN posted about this Supreme Court overriding the lower court and allowed President Donald Trump to move forward with these plans, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib said, this illegitimate SCOTUS continues to do Trump's bidding, allowing him to take a wrecking ball to federal agencies and fire thousands of federal workers who provide the services our family relies on. We need to end this court's corrupt grip on our democracy. The really funny part about that was that this was an 8-1 decision, and even the liberal justices who have above an 80 IQ ruled also in favor of the Trump administration in this ruling, but she made the argument that it was illegitimate because she didn't look to see how big the ruling was, and she's just an idiot. So
borderline retarded, I think is what you said yesterday.
I think I just said retarded. I think I just said
not even.
She might. I said she might be.
Oh, okay.
Retarded.
That classifies as borderline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like borderline personality plus retarded?
That could be it. Could be the problem.
Could. Yeah. We don't know. We're not doctors.
How about number 11? I think we're making great time right now. We're 43 minutes in, and we're already on number 11.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Only got 5 more.
Yeah. Go ahead, Charlie.
All right. This is from a conversation between Nina Turner and Karthik Ramaswamy. Is any relation to the other Ramaswamy?
I'm not sure.
All right. The person working full-time at Target should be able to afford rent, groceries, bills, and have some leftover on their paycheck alone. And so Karthik says, I thought we were boycotting Target. Nina's like, boycotting means don't shop there. Advocating for living wages doesn't negate that.
And the viral post with this said, I'm not an economist, but So really, just the dumbest thing about this is that Nina Turner's been helping to lead this boycott against Target because Target got rid of a bunch of their DEI stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've been boycotting Target. It may or may not be having an effect on Target. I don't know.
How does Target pay their employees a living wage?
This actually, it's crazy the disconnect between how a business gets the money that it pays its people. And so she's both arguing that...
No, what they do is like they just see in their heads like, oh my God, Target has billions of dollars.
Yeah.
That doesn't, like, they just have it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, they just have these billions.
Like they have to make the money.
Yeah.
It has to come in as
What
income, and it has to be profit.
What is
Or
Target?
like, they need to actually have the money available to pay them. That's what I mean by that. And if you're leading the boycott with the intended effect of harming Target's sales, of actually hurting them, of taking money away from Target, while at the same time arguing that they should pay their employees more money, just means a complete and total disconnect with the, I don't know, economics itself.
Target's market cap is $47.5 billion.
So they just have.
That
means they have that billion,
Yeah.
$47.5 billion.
Yeah.
And so that means they can pay people a living wage, whatever the word living wage means. So there we go. It's another quick one right there.
Yeah, I mean,
how about that?
Look, their revenue was $23.85 billion.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of revenue. I think that means they can pay whatever.
Yeah.
Your dog really wants out of the room right
Target
now.
operates a 4.34% net profit margin. That's up 13% year over year.
Well, how about that?
Yeah, it doesn't look like the left's boycott's working.
Well, if you look at their stock price, it seems to be working. Nina Turner has claimed that the boycott's working, so we have that right now. I'm just not sure that that's true, but who knows? Okay, number 12. Let's go to number 12 real quick. This is news that Bishop Rojas of San Bernardino has dispensed his diocese from the obligation to attend Sunday Mass due to ongoing ICE raids. So the story here basically is that the bishop is saying, it's okay. You don't have to come to church. You don't have to come to Mass because we know you're scared that ICE might raid our church. Okay. Now, put aside the fact that ICE actually has not raided any churches. And so I would just say that would be like a wildly unpopular thing to do. Like, you think Home Depot's bad, I've
seen them raid some Walmarts and stuff.
Yeah. I'm not sure people are going to raid churches.
They're technically not allowed to go on private property without a warrant.
Yeah.
So they would
Costco said I think it's illegal for ICE to do that. It might be. I don't know what the rules are there for them to be able to even raid a church in the first place.
Well, it's
I'm not
private
sure.
property, so they would need a warrant.
Well, they've raided plenty of private property locations.
As long as they have a warrant.
Yeah. But anyway,
a lot of times what they've been doing, from what I understand, is they'll like stake out, like at Walmart or Home Depot or whatever. They'll hang out in the parking lot and they'll wait for them to come outside.
Yeah.
But some employees are letting them inside of Walmart and other places, so then they'll go in, but they have to have permission.
I got you.
Unless they have a warrant, then they're able to enter with the warrant.
So the story here is that these people are not able to go to Mass because of ICE doing raids. And Gavin Newsom posts on here, freedom of religion, not in Donald Trump's America. People now have to choose between their faith and their freedom. And the reason I included this was because we were all alive during the year of our Lord 2020 and 2021, which is when the Supreme Court had to rule against California and had to double down on religious rights during the pandemic. Deeply divided Supreme Court doubled down on religious rights late Friday, ruling that California can no longer continue with a ban on indoor church services put in place to fight the coronavirus pandemic. But the court said the state, for now, can keep in place restrictions on singing and chanting inside.
I didn't know that they could restrict the singing and chanting.
Couldn't sing. Couldn't do chants. When you read the red parts of the Bible and stuff, you just can't. It's too dangerous.
Yep. May the Lord be with you.
Can't do it. I did want to add on while we're doing a little bit.
Oh, hallelujah!
While we're doing a little bit of immigration, just this really stupid thing, this stupid point that Jasmine Stupid Crockett tried to make real quick, and here's what she said.
As far as I'm concerned, you randomly kidnapping folk and you throwing them out of the country against their civil rights, against their constitutional rights. And frankly, how would they feel if some other country decided that they were going to just start throwing people randomly in our country? Like that is absolutely insane. So yes, all I got to say is y'all need to get these fools out of here. But
okay, the point she just made is that you ought to think about deporting people, Charlie, to other countries. Because how would we feel, Charlie, if other countries started sending their people to America? Can you imagine?
What would
what would happen then?
What's literally been happening?
How would these Republicans like it if other countries tried to do that? My God. She's thinking about running for Senate, by the way.
And she'll probably make it somehow.
Yeah, there's a good chance that could happen. Okay, 13. This one has this, a super serious story from the Washington Post right here. The clowns are upset. The actual clowns. Okay, the people who clown around for a job. All right. In this opinion piece, I promise you, it's going to be worth it. Okay. It's called Donald Trump is Not a Clown. I should know. So this clown is basically pretty offended. Pretty offended by the fact that people keep calling Donald Trump a clown. All right. And
so the clowns are offended?
That is an offense to all of the real clowns out there. Allegations that President Donald Trump is a clownish figure are not hard to come by. It goes through all the times that people say clown show, humiliated clown, kick out the clowns, protest, all that kind of stuff.
And by the way, Tim Cunningham, he's the board president of Clowns Without Borders, which is a nonprofit that performs clown shows for communities facing hardship.
Okay.
You know, like Doctors Without Borders.
That's
and
Clowns
how
Without Borders.
Yeah, they perform like free surgeries and stuff, and like in these.
Yeah, they perform clowning for people.
Yeah,
which if you go around and you perform for kids and you make kids happy in between the bombings,
fine.
That's fine.
That's great.
Okay. I'm not going to pretend to be offended or like care about your offense that people call Trump a clown, by the way. Clown demands years, if not a lifetime of study. Consider the physical virtuosity of Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, or the impeccable comedic timing of Mr. Bean. What's more, clown is not an invention of the modern era. Several ancient indigenous cultures revere a sacred clown figure. For example, the Sioux people.
Bring in the indigenous folks.
The Sioux people celebrate the Hioka, an honorable community member who uses humor to shed light on societal problems. All clown, I guess clown is the plural form of clown. In case anyone was wondering, I'm not up on the lingo, that instead of all clowns, it's like clown is like the community, like clown.
Mm-hmm.
Clown. Okay.
Yeah, like geese, goose, geese, clown.
Clown.
Clean.
Deer. There you go.
Yeah.
All clown shares.
Moose, meese.
All clown shares the common values of healing, empathy, and reflection. Our work touches people in need of joy everywhere. I've witnessed the smiles that clowns bring to the faces of people in hospitals, war zones, refugee camps, and homeless shelters. And then there's some personal stories here about all that. Clowns are more than children's birthday party performers. We help people relax, heal, and prompt others to think differently about the world. I think clowns actually kind of scare a lot of people. It's kind of freaky to me.
Yeah. It's like half people, well, some percentage of the population, 10-20% like clowns.
Yeah.
The rest,
like everyone else,
hate clowns.
Terrified.
Yeah.
Like, terrified of clowns.
I'm so happy though we found a way to be a victim.
Yeah. Clown victims.
That's
fine.
As a group.
I promise you, I know this is taking a little bit of time, but in the end, it's going to be worth it, which is what I said to my wife last night. Yet our joyful work has been diminished into an insult. Every election season, the word clown resurfaces to compare tumultuous Washington politics to a circus. Political commentators and social media users are not the only ones who wrongfully sling this jibe. These jibe turkeys out there. Clown is used by almost everyone to belittle those seen as foolish or incompetent. The more we mistreat the word, the more we lose understanding of a sacred art form. Let's find a better metaphor to despise and depose fascism. Keep clown out of Trumpian comparisons, and for that matter, all politics. Offer clown the respect it deserves and invoke us for good. For centuries, clowns have been uniting people in laughter, levity, and creativity. That's what real clowns have to offer. If you're still stuck on the broken comparison ingrained in our national dialogue, here's an alternative. Try buffoon. Now, when I saw that, I was like, hold on. Buffoon. What does that word mean? It means clown. So, just in case you're wondering, if you go to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, this super hurt, upset clown, sad clown face, very upset. Wants you to use the word buffoon instead, and I looked it up, and it's called clown.
It's
now,
like if I didn't like being called Chuck anymore. Like Chuck was used as an evil connotation, an evil creed, represented something not good in society, and I just wanted you to call me Kunu.
Yeah. Which means Chuck.
But
okay. For number 14 here, we're going to try and do the Jeffrey Epstein thing in like...
thought you weren't talking about it.
Like 4 minutes. Well, I said except for Dumb Bleep.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is the last time.
This is the last time we're mentioning...
This is the absolute last time we talk about
until
this.
they actually release the files.
Yeah.
That don't exist. So,
as everyone knows, this week we got our memo from the Justice Department, we think, saying that there's no evidence that Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or that he was murdered. So we got that. They said that...
By the way, this was a leaked document.
Yes.
It wasn't officially put out.
As part of our commitment to transparency, they've conducted this exhaustive review. Now, one dumb thing is that they did a review of basically the previous investigations, which doesn't seem like enough to me. It seems like you're the FBI, the last letter stands for investigation, and that you should, let's just do the investigation again, you know? Why call it case closed? That's the weird thing. But essentially they came out and they said case closed. He killed himself, okay? We know that. He didn't have a client list, and he was not blackmailing powerful figures. So all these things have just been part of a massive conspiracy, essentially, is what the government tried to come out and say. Now, the good news is basically no one believes this. Hardly anyone, except for Ben Shapiro. It's like the only person that believes this, probably Benjamin Netanyahu. Like the only people that believe it. Megyn Kelly a little bit because she trusts Dan Bongino suspiciously a lot. And so really has a lot of trust for him.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't mean anything by that, by the way. I just say it's like weird. But the good news is, like, most people don't believe this.
As far as you know, they're happily married.
Yeah.
Just a weird level of trust.
I had to do a point of order here for everyone. As you know, we're not conspiracy theorists.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, you bought the official narrative. I bought.
Yeah. If you refer back to
so half of GML
Wednesday's
accepts
episode,
the narrative. Yeah,
I bought the official narrative, which was a clever way of us.
Some will call it sarcastic, but we know you actually really did
bought it. They released a video that was supposed to be helpful somehow for all of us, and the video just showed like the left 8 inches of the stairwell that went up to where Jeffrey Epstein was housed.
No, so look, no one went up the stairwell.
Mm-hmm. Clear as day. I'm just like, why not? Why release this? It doesn't help you to release this at all. It doesn't prove anything, one bit. But they released it, and unfortunately for them, it was missing a minute, right around the midnight mark. Now I'm going to do something that you don't hear a lot of people do right now. I'm going to say that we spun wild speculation and conspiracy theories about this missing minute. And it could, in fact, be the case that what Pam Bondi...
Well, we spun wild speculation and conspiracy theories, like if we were conspiracy theories.
As if we were.
Yeah.
But luckily we're not. We're just saying what we would have said if we were conspiracy theorists.
Exactly.
I did want to let everyone know, just in the, just to be upfront about everything, I did some research with Grok. Didn't go further than that. Apparently, it is possible and even common and well-known that in some of these older video recording systems, there is, in fact, a minute break for the last minute of the day. It's an actual thing. So Pam Bondi said this is the case on all of our footage, and she claims she's going to show that. I wanted to let you know that it could actually be the case that when she said that, she wasn't lying, and this missing minute is just a missing minute. And the reason that they do that is because it's a break in the camera to give a proper segmentation for each day. And if they keep it recording, they're worried that it could corrupt the video file. Or
record over itself, something like that.
Yeah. See, in some modern DVR and VR brands, continuous recording schedules are set from midnight to 11:59 p.m., leaving the 1 minute gap at the 11:59 p.m. to midnight transition. This is
so if you're going to commit a crime,
that's the time to do it. Yeah.
11:59.
This is a software design choice to prevent overlap or file corruption during daily file segmentation. Users report workarounds like extending schedules to midnight the next day, but it's a recurring complaint in forums. This isn't a 1990s issue, but I asked about 90s cameras because she said it was from 99. But it could stem from similar logic in early digital prototypes. There is a potential rollover thing, and they also have another thing called clock drift, which is combined with network time protocol. This is for if the video is running fast, which the video was running fast. That's why there was time missing, and that they basically jump this minute to try and get it realigned with the proper time every night. So all I want to say is we believe in complete, like, getting down to the bottom of things, and we speculate about things and leaving all options open. And so part of being truthful about this is saying that there actually is an avenue where this missing minute makes sense, just so everyone knows. Show me another conspiracy theorist that's going to do that. It took Alex Jones getting sued for $1 billion to come out and do that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He still is not going to come out and tell you that he didn't find any intergalactic space aliens or anything like that, you know? So anyhow, that's part of it. Oh, Crockett. That's part of the dumb was the DOJ release itself. Now, there's some specific parts of this dumb. One that I would want to play for you, which I think was very dumb, and that is Trump's response to a reporter asking a very fair question about the situation. Regardless of where you come down on the matter, I think you could agree, really, really terrible PR move. And I think they believe that they have such a strong hold over their followers that they're just going to snap their fingers and say, stop talking about this, and everyone was going to give up because they have such a strong following.
Some would say cult-like.
Some
following.
people had, like, I think that the word cult fits for, like, most political parties and figures and all of that. I don't think that if he said, drink this Kool-Aid to kill yourself and go to heaven or whatever Jim Jones would have told you was going to happen, I don't think that's the case.
There were some people who ingested bleach. The whole COVID thing.
Did they? Did that actually happen?
I don't know.
He's like, oh, in all actuality, you know.
There was one person, I think, that died from some kind of
There was some kind of fish tank thing. Yeah, that's right. I remember the same thing. I don't remember what that was.
Super hard cult member.
Anyway, here's Trump's response.
Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the staff?
Yeah, sure. If
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure.
We have all these things going on, and you want to ask a question about whether or not the American government is lying to you?
About child sex trafficking?
Yeah.
God.
And whether or not there's blackmail or if he was actually an intelligence asset? That's more important?
That was just, there's like a couple things that are real bad about all this, and his response was, in my opinion, like, well, I don't want to sway the vote. It was really dumb. His response was just stupid.
Well, it's
overall.
exactly what a person who's lying would do.
It's going to try and
with a kind of question like that.
Going to try and scare anyone away from asking about it.
Yes.
He's going to do this to every reporter that asked about it and basically make them scared that they're going to lose their access to the White House if they ask about it. And in order to try and stop people from asking about it.
Why does he do this when he's wearing a libertarian tie?
He is wearing his yellow tie.
You know?
That's true.
Should have had a red one on.
All right, so we've got that. Pam Bondi's response comes in. Now, everyone's going after Pam Bondi right now, which I get. It's easy, but
she's the fall guy.
She's the fall guy. Gunther Eagleman says, now this is, the screenshot's perfect because the screenshot is a screenshot of Trump during this press conference. Okay, so if you're listening, that's what we see. And Gunther Eagleman, who's real big page on X. I'm very unsatisfied with Blondie's explanation of Epstein. It creates more doubt and answers nothing. No answers on why an unsigned and undated memo was leaked to Axios. This is unacceptable. Blondie has to go. And it's when I took the screenshot, it was Trump here. And of course, nothing to say about Trump chastising a reporter for even asking the question in the first place. But the post is about how he's upset about Pam Bondi. So that's good stuff. That's really good stuff. And then there's the Ben Shapiro side of this whole thing, which is the side I took on Wednesday, right? Just trust everything that they told you.
Yeah.
Why would they lie to you about this? There's no reason to ask about this anymore. No one cares about this whole thing. In fact, before we do that, we will play the fact that no one cares about this, according to him.
However, when President Trump speaks for the American people more generally, and he says, guys, don't we have better things to do? You can understand his irritation. The man is trying to negotiate an end to a war in the Gaza Strip. He's trying to negotiate an end to a war in Ukraine. He's attempting to revivify the American economy. He's attempting to crack down on illegal immigration. On a list of American priorities by the polls, the Epstein-Maxwell case comes in pretty close to zero, just on a list of priorities.
I wouldn't doubt that that's accurate if you looked at a list of priorities. It's probably pretty low.
It does. Well, it jumps up there when you feel like you're being lied to about it.
And it probably jumps up like right when the DOJ releases the news that there's nothing to see here. I would say it becomes a higher priority on American. Like, sure, in your daily life, you're going about trying to make sure you can pay for stuff. Keep your house, keep your job, keep your doctor, all this, all that stuff. That if you like, you can keep. You're not thinking about this Epstein thing from however many years ago. But when the DOJ comes out and says, oh, there's nothing to see here, we're not going to arrest anyone, everything's fine, the bad people are already in prison or dead, and so nothing to see here at all. Well, let's say it jumps up as on priority list for people at that time. Yeah.
My name's Ben Shapiro, and why would you try to investigate a guy who might have links to Mossad in Israel?
No reason. And so let's play the original video we played earlier in the week, and then we'll be getting the votes in.
We now have the answers. And the problem is this. People who never hedged their bets, people who never at any point suggested to you that they don't have data to back up the speculation, that the speculation was in and of itself the conclusion that if you speculate without evidence, that amounts to an actual conclusion to an investigation, they're going to be very upset today because it turns out that the DOJ and the FBI have concluded that Epstein didn't have a client list and died by suicide, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. Now, again, does this put to bed like all inquiries? Of course not. People can continue to speculate as much as they want. And I think there's still open questions here regarding how did Epstein make his money? Right, that's a very serious open question. And the speculation for a long time was he made his money from blackmail. But the DOJ and the FBI, again, run by people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are telling you, I'm not telling you, they're telling you, people who are members of the Trump administration, people you elected and put into these positions to get you the truth on this matter, are telling you that he didn't, in fact, he was not murdered. He did not keep a client list, and he did not blackmail powerful figures. Okay, right? That is the thing that they are saying, not I. They are saying this. If you're willing to throw that over and claim they're lying, then I'd like to see you present your evidence that they are in fact lying. Because I know Dan. I don't think that Dan Bongino is lying to me. I know Kash Patel a little bit. I don't think Kash Patel is lying to me. I don't think these people are lying to me. Which means that if somebody else continues to claim that they're lying, they ought to provide their evidence at this point. And now is the point at which the facts on the ground have changed.
The problem with this whole provide your evidence is that it's the government who collects and controls the evidence.
Right.
And so when you tell people, oh, you think they're lying? Well, why don't you provide the evidence?
We're not allowed to see it.
They have it. And they actually won't even show it to me.
Yeah.
They're just telling me that the evidence proves that this is what happened. And now you're telling me that I have to disprove them while they're the ones that are in possession of the evidence?
The other part that really bothers me about this is the beginning where he says, the people who don't hedge their bets, that just speculate wildly. Oh, you mean like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Trump like a month ago?
Yeah.
Vice President.
Trump was always pretty light on the Epstein thing. I think he always tried to.
Let's go with J.D. Vance then. We'll leave Trump out of it.
He commented on it, but it was always like, we're going to have to take a look at it, Yeah. And because, as he knows, he was friends with Epstein. And so I think he's always sort of stayed away from that. It's like, oh, Epstein, we're going to take a look at that. The JFK stuff, that's going to be, that's kind of the way that Trump has always talked about this.
It's just, it bothers me where he's like, speculate wildly. Oh, like the vice president did a month ago on Theo Von's podcast?
Yeah.
Like Kash Patel did for a couple years on all of his podcast tours.
Yeah.
Dan Bongino, you want to go through his archives of his show that he did about Epstein?
Yeah, I do think, not just...
He provided himself an out, though. I'll give him that. He said there are still questions to be answered.
About
how did he make his money? There's some holes that we should look into. He gave himself an out there.
The money thing's a pretty big hole. How'd you have the houses and
pretty massive hole,
cars and the boats and the plane and all that
and
stuff,
the island
and an island? How did you get all these things? It's said that he managed people's money, but there's actually no record of him managing people's money. For some reason, the guy, what's the guy's name who owned like Victoria's Secret and all that? Wexner, I think.
Yeah,
is his name. Pretty sure signed over. Gave him power of attorney over over everything, like over everything. Yeah, all of his companies, all of his money, everything would travel around with him all the time. I'm like, that doesn't sound normal. It's not a normal thing to do for someone.
Sounds a little sketchy.
So Les Wexner. That's the guy's name. All right, let's get the votes in, everyone. That was a heck of a lot of stuff to go through.
Get your votes in.
We've got so many things here. We've got the comments about the flood. Number 1. Number 2, the measles outbreak. Number 3, crazy-ass Julia. And that was the funniest one so far, I think. That was pretty funny.
By far. You could read that again.
Number 4, that lawyer. I mean, I hope he did this pro bono because he's going to get some clients. There's so many men on here that need that lawyer. You're one of them. Number 4, the America Party criticism. Number 5, the act of violence from Rashida Tlaib. She didn't commit the act of violence. People taking less money from other people is the act of violence. Number 6, the BBB bump it up. That's actually the lies about no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. Just say what it actually is. Quit lying to people about it. That's all I have to say about it. Sure, that's your policy. That's what you did. Quit lying to people about it. Number 7, right to bear some arms from Anna Paulina Luna.
Not the one pictured.
No, not the one in there. Number 8, 4th of July next year is going to cost taxpayers $150 million. That's, whatever. Number 9, I mean, you get the ironic part of that, right? It's fairly ironic that you're going to extort that much money from taxpayers to pay to celebrate the 4th of July. My God. Number 9, Ukraine funding or further supplying of arms. They get all the arms. Number 10, Ketanji Brown Jackson and Rashida Tlaib's comment about that also. Number 11, Nina Turner, great at economics, always great at economics. Number 12, Newsom and the freedom of religion this year. Number 13, the clowning of the clowns, buffoons. We're going to call them buffoons now, which means clown. Number 14, Epstein.
Wow, this is close, actually.
Epstein himself.
Right now, there's a tie between batshit crazy Julia and Epstein.
And I think, we all accept that deep down, probably the Epstein thing is the dumbest, really. but we're really pulling for this crazy ass Julia to get mentioned again on the show sometime.
Yes.
You know, like deep down in our hearts, we want to see that too.
Because that lawyer's response was
yeah.
just chef's kiss.
That could have been a white pill, honestly. It didn't even have to be a dumb bleep. It could have been a white pill.
Could have been.
So it's not.
Maybe we'll bring it up for White Pill Wednesday next week.
We're gonna give you all 10 seconds.
All right, get your votes in. I'm going to talk about sharing the show and leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support this show. Go to GodHatesFeds.com, join GML.com, be part of the Fed Haters Club if you want to get your vote in. And all of this is copyrighted and
And the winner is the Epstein situation.
Just by one vote.
Poor Julia just never wins at life.
By one vote.
Always a victim, Julia.
All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. Do the things I said or don't. I don't really care, but Nate does. And if you do, we'll be back again on Monday. I hope you have a good day, a good weekend, a good reunion.
I'm having a reunion, yeah.
And a good morning, Liberty.